Welcome back to Enjoy Racing, boys and girls. We're going to do something a little different today, so follow along. We are finally going to talk about Silver Dollar City and my opinions and my experiences. Welcome back to Enjoy Racing, everyone. Today we are going to actually do something a little different, and I hope it comes out okay. Well, I've seen the video, not 100% happy with it, but it is what it is. So we went to Silver Dollar City last July after the Oldsmobile race, and it was a bucket list park for me, and I have my opinions. We're going to talk about it in the upcoming video. Me, as the content creator, the wonderful one I am, I didn't shoot a lick of video while I was there. So I tried to download. Chris from Airtime Thrills has free uncopyrighted footage. Well, YouTube wouldn't let me download it because I'm not a subscriber to YouTube. It's a whole thing. So I took my camera, I recorded it. So it's a little not perfect, but there's something in the background while I talk. So this is something different. This is a little different format. I'm going to work on doing a Worlds of Fun and a Adventureland, the one in Attoon, Iowa, because, well, that's where we were. Not Iowa. Yeah, Iowa. That's where we were. We're going to do that one kind of together. That one's not as involved. So that will be coming real soon, and it'll probably be basically the same format, or I'm thinking I may just do that one with me sitting here talking to you guys, and I might add in a little bit because I'm having a hard time finding the videos. But I am going to personally work on trying to take better videos. I'm going to be going to some amusement parks here real soon, and this is something, yes, I know a lot of you guys are here for the cars and the racing, but this is something else I'm passionate about, and I'm going to share some of it. As you've already seen, you know, the Hollywood Horror Nights and this and that, we have some of that. So please follow along. And let me know what you guys think. Please comment, share, like, do all the fun stuff, subscribe, and please watch the video. Welcome back to Twin J Racing, everyone. And in today's video, we're going to do something a little different. This is something I've been wanting to work on for a while now, and I just haven't done it. Me and the wife went to Silver Dollar City this summer in July. Well, actually last summer in July, when it was hotter than heck outside, but we wanted to check out the park. It's actually been a bucket list park for me to go to for years, and of course, like my epic fail yourself, I didn't record a darn thing. We didn't hardly take many pictures while we were there. We just enjoyed it, and I wanted to talk about my overall experience and my thoughts and everything that happened during that trip. So we're gonna go get into it. The good, the bad, the ugly. My personal opinion, I mean, I'm beginning to think I'm spoiled, but we'll talk about why I think that. So to start talking about it, we went, like I said, it was hot. It was very, very hot. Like, I don't normally go to water parks, and we didn't go to their water park, but I don't normally go to water parks or pools, but every day I was in a water park or a pool because I was hot. So we will preference it with that. Overall, it was a different experience for me. I have been to Dollywood, I have been to Six Flags Over Georgia, so I haven't just been to flat parks, but majority of the parks I have been to have been flat parks. No major ups and downs or sides or whatever. Silver Dollar City was the first one where I really experienced like the mountain is the whole thing to do with it. Like the parking lot is on an angled mountain. You know, everywhere you go in that park, you're going uphill, you're going downhill, you're going everywhere. Which is something for me that I didn't really care for. I didn't really like the layout of the park. There's a lot of like little narrow paths that just lead to here or there, or you're not even sure where you're going. That was one thing that I did notice a lot of. And I, unfortunately, in an EVC or electric vehicle, scooter, or whatever the hell they call them. So you get into the small paths. Sometimes it's a little hard to maneuver around. And that also has been the only park that I've ever been to where there are signs on some of the paths that you cannot take this scooter down this path. It is against the law, which I mean I can understand. But there's a lot of the up and downs, into this, into that, and it's just, unfortunately, I understand it started out as a train ride and they've added and added and added. Unfortunately, my opinion, and solely probably my opinion, is they need to go back and kind of relay some of it and make bigger paths and more direct paths and make it more user-friendly, for lack of a better term. And that's another thing that I've run into it in some other parks, like SeaWorld Orlando is really good for it. And I mean, even Dollywood to a small extent, but Dollywood's laid out pretty good. But you get into a place where, okay, you're over here. Well, now you got to back out of this and go over to get to here. Or even the sign markings and stuff are not great. You know, when you're trying to find stuff, like we were trying to find, I believe it was Powder Keg, and there was no real sign that said Powder Keg is here. They were talking about, I believe it was an opera house or something back there, or a theater. And then when you get up on the theater, you're like, the map shows Powder Keg's here, but you don't find it till you get to the theater, and it goes, Powder Keg's this way. You know, the marking of stuff is not real great. And that's the same with Outlaw Run, is way out by itself. You have to go all the way there and come back. And it's just firing that whole area is really cool, but it's by itself. You go out, you come back. The layout, to me, leaves a little to be desired. Overall, it's cool. For me, it was hard to navigate the park and understand where exactly everything was. Even after our second day there, there's still like, oh, there's another path here that I didn't even know that kind of circumvents this way or this or that. There's a lot of that, and I didn't particularly care for it. Like I said, this is probably where I've been lucky with the Cedar Points and the Great Americas. Well, the Six Flags Great America, and Kings Island, where stuff is in a circle, stuff is laid out. I mean, Kings Island, for a while, had the back path closed off, which I hated that for years. That goes between the restrooms there, where Backlot Stunt Coaster was, and out to Coney Island. That back pathway was closed for a while, which really sucked. But I didn't really care for the way that stuff was laid out. And I did like the free parking, though, but that's a whole nother. That was a good thing. It was nice to have free parking, and it could have been a little clearer on the website when you read about it, because I thought you had to pay for parking no matter what. And come to find out, no, it's free. But if you wanted the better parking, which I would have paid for the better parking had I known the other was free, but it worked out that way. And then this is my fault, but we took the motor home, and we had my wife's hearse because we went to an Oldsmobile event, and we didn't have one of our handicap placards with us, so we ended up parking in the parking lot, and the trams weren't set up to take a scooter, so I had to drive my scooter all the way to the front grate up a pretty good hill. But that was on me. That's not the fault of them. I didn't bring one of my placards because I didn't think about it. Didn't think about needing it in the motorhome, and all of my vehicles have them. Not thinking about the vehicle we had. So that like I said, was on me. The rides were good. I went there for Time Traveler, and I went there for Outlaw Run. Those were the two rides that I looked most forward to. Time Traveler is just insane. It's not a one-of-a-kind experience anymore with the Ride to Happiness, and then I believe there's another one opening this year or opened last year. But it was a one-of-a-kind experience, at least in America currently, and it is absolutely nuts, and it is fun, and it's one of the most fun I've had on a ride in a while. I highly was anticipating Outlaw Run, and overall the ride was fine, and I had known about this and I didn't realize how bad it was, but there was a pothole at the bottom of the drop. And I know a pothole on a roller coaster sounds crazy, but there is a pothole on the bottom of that roller coaster. In the front of the train, it's not so bad. In the back of the train, it hurts. I wasn't ready for it, and it jarred me pretty good, and I hurt the rest of the day because of it. And it pretty much took the enjoyment of the rest of that coaster away from me. For me, other people may be able to overlook it. It wasn't. And my wife's the same way. She would not get back on it. I did ride it the next day in the front, but overall, it's still, when you got to ride defensively, in my opinion, it's not worth it anymore. When I was younger, I wouldn't care. I'm not younger anymore. Powder Keg was fun. It was different. It was fun. You know, there's some airtime and there's the launch. Like everybody says, it's the launch. And then you get towards the end, it's just kind of filler, and then you're back to the station, which is cool. They converted a coaster and made it into something different and something that has a unique feature, but, you know, the one-trick pony, and that's about it. Wildfire, it's a B&M floorless. We've all been on those. So, Fire in the Hole is what Fire in the Hole is. It's very cool. It was brand new. Road smooth. It's a dark ride, basically. That's kind of a coaster. A lot of fun. RMC did a great job with it, you know. Thunderation, everybody raves about how great it was. For me, it was too rough. I didn't really enjoy it. But the layout's good. I give it that, but I couldn't. It was too rough for me to enjoy. But yet, a lot of the YouTubers I follow, they all love it. I just couldn't get there. I tried. But Time Traveler, well worth the trip just in itself. If they would fix a couple of the issues with Outlaw Run, I think it would be a great coaster. In my opinion, the pothole right at the beginning, and I believe there's another one in there too. It's not as bad, but there was another rough spot, and I don't remember exactly where it was because I was still reeling from the pothole. And it just takes the enjoyment for me out of the roller coaster at that point in time. I did ride it twice, like I said. I rode it in the front, and it was much more enjoyable in the front, but I can't see myself running back there to ride it again. And also, there are so many other RMCs and better RMCs, even though that is one of the few topper tracks left. That's one of 3, I believe. The other one is Goliath at Six Flags Great America. I ain't been on that one in 4 or 5 years now, so who knows? That one might have a pothole by now, but I haven't heard that. The shows were really great. We went back the next day to literally just watch shows, and somehow we ended up riding roller coasters. Don't tell my wife, she called that, but we only rode a couple. We rode Time Traveler, and that's when I rode Outlaw Run again. We were looking around at doing like a dinner and a show or whatever, and we're like, well, we bought a 2-day pass to Silver Dollar City because it was cheaper to buy a 2-day pass than it was to buy a 1-day pass for the same price. So we went back and we watched the shows and we ate there again. We enjoyed our food there the second day, and you know, that aspect was nice. The people were very polite, very nice. You know, the whole atmosphere was nice. I didn't like I said, I didn't like the way the park was laid out. Another thing I want to talk about that for me I have to deal with is the access and disability system they have. I am very used to the Six Flags and the Cedar Point one and most places which run about the same. And theirs is a little different, and I understand the thinking behind theirs, but I feel it could be executed a little differently or easier for people to use. I mean, it's simple for them to use, yes, but it's kind of a pain to use. They give you a book and they give you the rides, and you can go to any ride, but you're only allowed one wait time at a time, which is standard procedure for any of the access and disability. But they make you go up to the ride exit, all the way down to the ride exit to get your time. And then at that point in time, if it's on a 20-minute wait, you have to wait 20 minutes before you can get on it. Or if it's a 45-minute wait, you have to wait 45 minutes to get on it. Now, being what we discussed before, where this amusement park is on a mountain, and some of the exit ramps and stuff are not easy to navigate. So now they have a person such as myself, which luckily I have an electric scooter, but somebody who's pushing a wheelchair, you now have to go down that exit ramp, go get your time, and then come all the way back out of that exit. If it's more than 15, 20 minutes, you don't want to sit at the ride and wait. So you're going to come back out and you're going to go do something else, or you're going to sit somewhere else, because sitting in the exit, you're kind of in the way. Which, trust me, we'll talk about that in a minute. But they should have somebody at the end of the exit, or somebody at the entrance that can be qualified, because that's the word they have to use. It has to be a qualified person to put the timestamp on there. And trying to get down some of them exit ramps, even with the electric scooter, it's switchbacks and it's up and down, or Time Traveler, it's right there, but you have to go out and back to avoid the stairs on a couple of spots, and it's just not easy. And like I said, if somebody was pushing me in a wheelchair, I can tell you from past experiences, it really sucks. And that's something where they need to, in my opinion, have somebody, and it should just be somebody at the front gate, at the front of the ride entrance. Hey, I need my arrival time. And they'll be like, all right, the line wait is 30 minutes, so it's 2 o'clock now, come back at 2:30. And write it on there, and then at 2:30 you can proceed down the exit and then go on the ride like you're supposed to. Not, okay, well, you got to go down the exit, and then you got to come, if you choose to, come back out, or you got to wait in the exit area, which is where you're in the way the whole time. It's just not very feasible. All it would take is that one little simple somebody at the entrance to the exit to write it down, which, okay, you don't really need to staff somebody there, but somebody, you always pretty much have somebody at the entrance to the ride watching for bags or whatever. I'm not sure of park policies, we're not going to get into that, but somebody there qualified to go, okay, you can come back at this time, not the ride operator. It would make life so much simpler for that pass. Other than that, it all makes sense. Okay, you want to ride this ride? You come back at this time. X amount of time later. It's just the execution of it could be better, because now you're trying to go both ways on an exit ramp, which, yes, you're already doing that, but now you got to do it twice to ride the ride once. With that being said, especially with Time Traveler, because nobody else really had to wait while we were there, we literally sat in the station for 15 minutes or 20 minutes one time, because it's like, I'm not going to go out and come back. There's no point in it. And so now there's no real waiting area there. You're just kind of in the way of everybody. So that's another thing to be like, oh, you can wait here, but we don't have anywhere for you to wait. Just stay here. But that gets me into something else I noticed. And I don't know if it was just a certain day or what, but we were waiting for Time Traveler in that instance where they're like, oh, it's 15-minute wait, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to wait right here. I'm going to spend 5 minutes getting back out and then 5 minutes coming back in. So, but any other amusement park I've ever been to, nobody is ever allowed to loiter around the operator. Here at Silver Dollar City, on the day we were there, and I'm assuming they're past park employees or friends or whatever, but they were talking to the ride operator, standing there BSing with all the other people running the ride, this, that, and everything else, just hanging out for the about 10, 12 minutes that we were sitting there waiting to get on the ride. And then they're like, all right, we'll see you guys in a little bit when you get off, and then they walked away. Any other amusement park I've ever been to, that's not been allowed. You have somebody operating a ride, they are not supposed to be hanging out with their friends, at least in my opinion. It's just something I saw that day that really kind of bugged me. But it is what it is. I don't know what the park's policy is on that. I don't know how it works there. But like I said, I thought it was even odd that they're allowing us to sit in the station in the exit area waiting for my turn to ride. So there's there's a lot of, in my opinion, inconsistencies. Most parks that I've ever been to, you have to wait outside the station area, in the exit area, and this is the only park, like I said, that's ever made me do it this way. Where Cedar Point, Six Flags, even Adventureland we went to afterwards, or Cedar Fair parks in general, your first ride is your start time, and then however long that line wait is. So if your first ride, let's just go with Monster at Adventureland, at 10 o'clock you ride it and the line's already 30 minutes. Your next ride cannot be till 10:30. So you're technically waiting in the line without waiting in the line. And then your next ride, say I went to Dragon Slayer, and it's a 45-minute wait. It's 10:30 by the time you get over into that line, get on the ride, it's 10:45. It's 45-minute wait. Okay, your next ride is at 11:30. So you go back to something else at 11:30 or whatever you choose to do. That's the way those work, so you ain't got to do double times back and forth, which that way makes sense too. And like I said, I have no problem with the way, and I have never used it at Dollywood because I have not been there since I've had my back injury. So I haven't been in a scooter since I've been at Dollywood, but that's a whole nother subject. And you know, I haven't done it at Dollywood or any other Herschend since such as Kentucky Kingdom. I haven't even been to Kentucky Kingdom yet. That's on the list to get to. Anyways, if they just had somebody up front that could do it rather than having to go in and out, it would be the same theory, and I wouldn't have any complaints. Like I said, there's just, in my opinion, some things that I didn't care for in that aspect of allowing people to do stuff. So I don't know. I'm kind of, I don't think I'm ever going to go. I won't say ever. I'm not in a hurry to go back to Branson or Silver Dollar City. I went. I enjoyed it for the most part. I have some pet peeves which I've talked about. I also enjoyed a lot of things about it, but it didn't blow my socks off. It didn't live up to my expectations, and I was a little worried about that. I've watched some videos and watched other people going, and I mean, everybody liked it, but it wasn't, Time Traveler, okay, that's the big thing. The shows, that's all great. That's all great stuff. But it's a 8+ hour drive for me to get there. And like I said, the layout wasn't, in my opinion, and that's a sticking point for me, I guess. I just didn't care for the layout. Now the train ride, I loved the train ride. And I'm a train person. If you watch this channel at all, you know that I love trains. Especially steam trains. Actual steam trains. So that was great. And the show and the this and the that. And like I said, the other shows we saw, I can't name them all, but we saw some shows. And it was a good experience overall. But you can tell some of the stuff is older. Some of the stuff isn't laid out. Like I said, unfortunately for me, accessibility is a big thing. And there was one place my wife wanted to go into, and it had an entrance from the pathway, which led the stairs up or down. Well, heck, now we got to try to figure out how to get around another pathway to get downstairs, and then get around another path. And she's like, nah, it's just not worth it. It's just, it was different. I wasn't quite as prepared as I should have been for the way it needed to be navigated, but I didn't know that's the way it was. I didn't know their pathways were as narrow as they were in a lot of areas. I didn't know the misguiding, I'm nitpicking it, but I'm trying to say overall it's a good time. If you've never been there, go once. I enjoyed it, like I said. I liked Time Traveler. I will rave on Time Traveler. I really wanted to ride Outlaw Run, and I did. I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I thought I liked Underration better. For me, just for me, my personal opinion, it was a little too rough. I know it's a narrow mine train. I know they're going to be somewhat rough, but this was a little more than somewhat, in my opinion. But overall, the experience was good. It's just not something that I need to go experience again. Now, if they build another coaster that's one of a kind or on its own, where Time Traveler is one of a kind right now, and it's on its own, and it's the only one you can ride there. For the longest time, Outlaw Run was kind of not necessarily one of a kind, but it was like the closest one to the area. Then Six Flags built theirs at Great America, and then you got the Steel Vengeance of the world and everything else now. So they're not one of a kinds anymore, where you can't just about throw a stone and hit a RMC nowadays. So it's going to take something like that to get me to go back there, because overall too, I was not overly impressed with Branson. I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would as a whole. We had fun, yes, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I do Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. I don't know why. It's the same basic thing, but maybe that was some of it. And I mean, we even tried to go to the Totally 80s or whatever, and we really looked forward to going to the 80s Cafe, and it was closed that day. They didn't really say why, it just said it's closed. The cafe was, but the rest of it was open, and we went through that, and it seemed like that whole portion of our Branson trip it didn't go well, and I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I just know it truly didn't impress me, and I don't feel like that I have to go back to that area at any time soon. So I guess we're going to kind of close this out real quick. Overall, it's a fun park. Money wise, it's not terrible. Even buying the food wasn't bad. The drink, I don't remember, but the drink plan wasn't that bad. We got one refillable cup, and we enjoyed our couple of days there at the park. We enjoyed the shows. We did enjoy the rides. We rode some of the flat rides, and flat rides are flat rides to me. That's just how I am. I'm not super big on them, but I'm not a hater to them either. I enjoy them, but they don't stand out to me. Yes, I did my shameless credit on the Zamperla Little Coaster. I don't even remember what it was called now. But we enjoyed our 2 days there. We had fun. It's not something like woohoo I have to run back, like I said. There's a lot of little things that I didn't like about it, but they're all simple fixes. Some of it's personal stuff to me. Most of it's personal stuff to me, because it's just the way, like I said, I'm spoiled. I like the way a lot of other parks are laid out versus the way this was laid out, and a lot of misguiding, and it could use some better signage, in just my opinion. Like I said, hopefully, if you want to go enjoy it. Don't let my opinion detour you. I'm glad I went. I'm just not sure I'm going to run back there anytime soon. So with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and hopefully I'll have videos up. Well, we'll know by now, and hopefully you enjoyed the videos I stole from probably Airtime Thrills or whoever. And we will catch you guys in the next one.